Is network marketing a cult? That's what we're going to be talking about in this video. All right, so there was an article in the Washington Post newspaper that mentioned cult a couple of times. And so I want to read this to you so you can get it in context. It's all there, the exaggerated claims of success for everyone and the nonstop need to make the sale, all carried out with a cult-like fervor. All right, that was one reference. The other one was salespeople, per this company, are instructed to stay away from negative and closed-minded people who try to convince you that there is no opportunity for you. This is more than a con, it's a cult. Okay, well, I was curious, what kind of cult? Okay, so let's look this up in the dictionary. Collins is my favorite dictionary. And definition number one of cult is a system of religious worship or ritual. Well, it's not that. Number two, devoted attachment to or extravagant admiration for a person, principle, or lifestyle. Okay, and so that's probably more like it, right? So that we believe in a principle of owning our own business, right? And so it's a devoted attachment to owning our own business or gaining a lifestyle, something like that. Number three is a group of followers, right? Well, that's kind of, that would be the people who are following, I guess, the cult leader in a situation. So I don't really think that works out. But I also decided to look up the word culture. The culture of a particular organization or group consists of the habits of the people in it and the way they generally behave. And I was like, wow, that fits a whole lot more about activities that I've seen for the last 30 years. And so this one, cult-like fervor, I would say that's more like culture, right? This one, this is more than a con, it's a cult. That's more like culture. Okay, so what is the person talking about here? Is that, that there was a pamphlet that suggested that the person stay away from negative people. And this lady says that's more than a con, it's a cult. All right, well, I'll tell you that even with my son, my 7-year-old son, I'm going to tell him to stay away from negative people, all right? Because number one, they're horrible to be around. And they end up, like stealing your ambitions. Not that they want to use them or do them, they want to take them away, all right? And then when people tell you that you can't do something, you shouldn't do something or something like that, and I'm talking about something that's obviously proactive, wanting to accomplish something. And so if somebody tells you not to do it, I would tell my son to stay away from them. They're not your friend. There is a dividing line. There is no two ways about it. There is a dividing line. There are people who like to uplift and push you towards your goals. All right? And there are people who don't want you to achieve your goal. They don't want you to rise up, and they're afraid that you're going to rise up and out. All right? Or that if you succeed, what does that make them look like? All right? And so there are people around this earth that like to drag people down. They like to try to steal other people's dreams and admiration or ambitions. And it's just a fact. You can look around and see it all the time. Okay? So this happened to me. Okay? And it's the reason that I'm so adamant with my sons is that when I was a kid, my dad was in construction, and I used to, and I got a dowel, and I cut off part of two sticks of a dowel, and I sanded them off, and I used to beat on everything in the house. Okay, so I was playing the drums all over the place. Never had a lesson or anything like that. I just loved to just beat around on things. I'd put carpet over the top of stuff and have the bass and the pots and pans and all kinds of things, right? And this guy named Todd Crane, who lived up the street from me, he was a year older than me, and he saw me doing that. And he said, he goes, "Do you want to be a drummer?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm going to be a drummer." And he could tell I was really excited about it. And he goes, "Well, you have to have natural ability." I said, what do you mean natural ability? And he said, all right, so beat with one rhythm with your hands and then do a different rhythm with both feet. And there was 3 rhythms. And so, like I tried to do it just like that. And he goes, you don't have the natural ability. You won't be a drummer. Just like that. The whole dream was gone, right? I was like completely invalidated that I could never do that. Now, I wasn't trying to be Neil Peart, okay? So this is, if you want to hear a cool song, it's Rush. Tom Sawyer is the name of the song. The band was Rush. And this guy's drum set, like he went around the moon or around the world playing his drums. And it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my whole life. And so I used to dream of that, of just playing the drums. I wasn't trying to be him. I just wanted to play drums. All right. And so like that, I allowed him to take that dream right out of my heart. Okay. And so I don't want that to ever, it won't happen to me again, because I could care less about what people's opinions of me are. Or when they say something like that, I've seen too many people who are really, really short and in the NBA. I've seen too many really small people who are in the NFL. I've seen every kind of thing. And so if somebody has an ambition, I'm always praising that. Go after it. How can I help you? Right? So that's the attitude that I have. And so I don't call that a cult at all. I call it a culture. You ever been to a ball game? You want to see culture. Is that normal? Of course it is. Right? A lot of times people think anytime a bunch of people are excited, then it's a cult. How sad. In other words, enthusiasm is infectious. So is being a jerk. So is being bored. So is all of it, right? And so if you had a choice, like I love when people get fired up, right? These people over here, we won't stop. Is that a cult because they're, like wanting the team to win? That's a culture of winning is what that is. It's a culture of enthusiasm. Get some enthusiasm in your life and you'll be really surprised how, like what it does for you. How good is it for kids? Look at the eyes, right? Look at the excitement in their life when they win, right? When they work hard and then accomplish something. Okay? It is like the coolest culture you could ever have, right? I've got my little guy, a 7-year-old. I've got a 2-year-old also. I've got him in jiu-jitsu. And man, when he finally has somebody else tap out, man, you ought to see him like jump up, and look at me, and so that's the essence, right? Like that is where the fun is. These guys here, those guys rock, all right? They act like a bunch of kids out on the field, all right? Full of enthusiasm. That's the culture of winning, all right? Getting a sale, some people may view that thing as you just made money. But I assure you, in my culture, it's not at all. I get an opportunity for another guy to get success with blank, okay? So I know I can help that person. When I bring somebody into the business, I know I can help that person. I've already done it a bunch of times. So that's the culture of winning, and it has to do with overcoming obstacles. I want to hopefully have you see something going on. There's a culture of average that's trying to permeate America. No winners, no losers, no right, no wrong, no rich, no poor, and policies chosen based upon median consensus, while the ghost facilitator in that consensus voting, if you will, has hidden intentions. Consensus will choose what's easiest. It'll destroy America. All right? And so I strongly urge you to fight the acceptance of average. It is not what we want. People think that we should, that the government should take money from the rich and give it to the poor. I assure you, you don't want to do that. In other words, think of all the people who left Europe to come to America. Why were they leaving there? Think about that. Why were they leaving there and rushing to the promised land, rushing to the new America? Because it limited all of that. In other words, for them over there, right, their money was being given away. And so that is slavery. If somebody receives something, or if somebody works for something and doesn't receive compensation for it, or their compensation is mandatorily given away, that's slavery. It doesn't matter which way you want to flip it, that's the way that it is. And so watch out for this culture of average that's tending to permeate. All right? The culture of winning is what made any country great. It is the freedom of opportunity. That's the culture. And the people who are willing to work and scrape, and everybody works and scrapes. Nobody just lands there. Even if you inherited money, you still have to get it right. You still have to learn it. And so everything, I love this phrase right here, a black belt is a white belt that never quits, right? Can you just imagine in special operations where a bunch of people show up and say, and the instructor says, okay, we're going to take a consensus as to what you guys feel as though you should receive in terms of training to determine whether or not you're going to be in Spec Ops or not. And then everybody, they vote and they debate it and everything, and they come out and they say, okay, all right, so we're going to do 25 push-ups and we're going to swim an Olympic-sized pool, and that'll be it. Right? So the consensus says that. Well, those people are not going to be combat warriors. In other words, the way that the standards were set for the elite forces is we look around and we say, what can the very most elite people current do? Well, we got to meet that and beat that. That is the standard. That attitude is a winner's attitude. That is the culture of winning. And it's the same thing in jiu-jitsu. If everybody goes to the same class and everybody gets the exact same lesson, it's going to come down to who went home and drilled more often. All right, that's the culture of winning, and that's what I had to do in network marketing. I had to do it. But was it worth it? You bet it was. All right, and so this network marketing is not a cult. It has a culture of winning. Comment down below and let me know what you think. I really appreciate it. I'm Tim Sales.